Welcome to the Community Accelerator Training Program, Course 5, Innovation, Building the Ecosystem for Growth. This is Lesson 5.3. This is Robert Bell for the Intelligent Community Forum. Danville is a small city located on the southern border of the state of Virginia in the U.S. It's a low-income agricultural belt far from the strong business and federal government economy of Northern Virginia. Once prosperous, it faced the kind of downturn from which very few communities recover. Danville's story is that of a mill town which lost its economy. It was an economic powerhouse, the city in the 19th and early 20th century, based on tobacco and textile manufacturing. However, the anti-smoking movement shrank the number of Virginia tobacco farms from 6,000 in 1997 to 300 in 2017. Automation and low-cost competition decimated the U.S. textile industry at about the same time, eliminating 62% of jobs from 1950 to 2000. Well, what else could happen from this except sharp economic decline, decades-long outmigration of labor force, retail closures, and what was left was a very relatively large population segment in its plus 65 years, meaning that they're really adding very little to the local economy while drawing in pension dollars and Social Security dollars, at least into the county. So, you have an economic history that created a low-skilled workforce. That's a serious issue, but there is a legacy of manufacturing experience which does have its value. There exists, fortunately, a university and community college that offers academic and career-focused fields of study. They have a city-owned electric utility, which can be quite an advantage, as we have seen. And they also had a couple of industrial parks with available space, in some cases much too much available space, for investment. So those are their assets. Their priorities were to create a broadband network that could meet the needs of business and residents. You can't get anywhere these days without that network in place. They wanted to develop multiple programs to upskill their youth and their adult learners. They needed a workforce that could compete today. And then wanted to target industries for relocation and startup with attraction support and retention programs. All pretty basic things, but executed particularly well in the case of Danville. Their transformation began with something called the Danville Fiber Network, and this was a project of that electric utility, which built a fiber network to serve government's needs and then opened it to commercial ISPs as a middle mile. That was successful enough that they added fiber to the premise network and expanded fiber service to a county beyond Danville's borders, with a network covering some 165 miles. So they had the asset in place, and now they also needed to upskill people to take advantage of it. So their public schools launched a very successful investment program. Now, part of this is driven by the fact that the Tobacco Commission was formed to help all of the areas affected by the decline of tobacco to recover. And it was funded with a significant amount of money from tobacco companies and used that money very effectively, and that's where this investment came from. So they invested in educational tech. They invested in learning labs for robotics and computer-aided design. Introduced a STEM curriculum in partnership with Virginia Polytechnic, their technical school. Created a magnet school, the Galileo Magnet School, and an adult and career education center. And their community college launched regional advanced manufacturing training in robotics, factory automation, and electronics. Again, creating the courses, investing ahead of the demand, but seeing the demand begin to appear. They focused on investment attraction. During the pandemic years, the toughest years imaginable, Danville received $1.1 billion in private investment commitments, many of them in advanced manufacturing, seeing the advantages that Danville was building into its economy. 3 tenanted industrial parks included a new cyber park for digital industries. And for entrepreneurship, they leveraged that Tobacco Commission funding and foundation funding to create something called the Learning Place, which was offering entrepreneurs consulting, seed funding, and pitch competitions, right? An incubator and an accelerator wrapped up together to try to help companies move forward quickly. And all of this strategy was successful in part because of the advantage that had been there all along. They were leveraging a 1-hour drive time from Raleigh-Durham, which is a huge tech cluster in the United States, but Danville's much lower cost of living and working. So they weren't trying to get people to come there and businesses to come there from far away, but actually from quite close, from a place where businesses could still participate in the Raleigh-Durham economic activity and yet be in Danville and take advantage of its lower cost of living, working, and of course, its outstanding connectivity. So, results. First and most important result, outmigration has come to a halt. In 8 of the last 10 years, more people have moved in than out. They've been able, in the strength of these other things, to redevelop their downtown river district and give this place its first real downtown, converting former mills into lofts and apartments for young workers. Their latest investment announcement, a $1 billion hyperscale data center campus in Danville Metro, and they have other data center operators seeking to expand in the region. The northern part of Virginia has got a lot of data centers. You've got the federal government located up there. You've got May East, which is the biggest East Coast connectivity point for the internet. So it's pretty rich up there. Because there's so much demand for data centers these days, they're expanding into Southern Virginia, and Danville is grabbing its share of that. And as a result of all this, Site Selection Magazine has twice named Danville one of the top 10 micropolitan cities in the U.S. That's pretty impressive considering where they came from for this city of some 42,000 people. So to map it again, the innovation ecosystem, it started with government making up its mind that it wasn't going to keep doing the same old thing the same old way. And it reached out and did the difficult work of partnering with those universities and colleges. It took advantage of all the available funding from foundations and the Tobacco Commission very aggressively, right? It's there, but you have to go out and get it. And they worked with their business community very intensively and produced the elements of that ecosystem, tech and STEM education, downtown redevelopment, the learning place, helping business advance its own innovation in products and services. And they got their results, as so many other places have gotten them, including some new funding coming in from this learning place to help entrepreneurial businesses get going in Danville.